If you're watching this because something in your life seems like it's going wrong, I need you to stay until the end. I think at the end of this video, you're gonna see the losses in your life a little bit differently. And today I'm not just talking about things from a theoretical standpoint, but actually giving examples from my life where things went completely wrong and then actually ended up being the best thing that ever happened to me. Think about something in your life that feels like a loss right now. Maybe it's a relationship or a friendship that's ending. Maybe it's a career opportunity or like a studying opportunity or some sort of like a broad program or a voluntary program that you just didn't get. Think about something that you really, really wanted and you worked towards it and then it just didn't work out. I know, let's be honest, it sucks in the moment. But what if this thing that went massively wrong, that you're really upset about, actually ends up being the best thing that never happened? Like really, best case scenario. What would this lead to? Honestly, I am not saying like everything happens for a reason, blah, 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 because I think that's just too broad. You can never know that, right? I low-key hate when people say that. But more than once it has happened that I have lost something and actually gained something that was literally 10 times better. And so in this video, I'll go through 6 instances in my life that felt like they were just complete disasters, complete losses, and ended up being actually amazing things. These are patterns you can notice. Maybe you find yourself in a similar situation. I'm not saying that just because this is what happened for me, it's also gonna happen for you in the exact same way. But through all of these 6 very different things, I've noticed a pattern. When a door closes, it's not necessarily that another one opens, but maybe sometimes a little crack in the window opens, or like you can squeeze yourself through another door. There's always a way out. The pattern that you need to see is that every single time something leaves the room, something better actually comes along. And sometimes it almost feels like something needs to leave before you can get something better. So let me show you what I mean by that. First of all, let's start with relationships. Maybe you can relate to this. Maybe you've been in a relationship where just deep down you knew it wasn't for you. My first ever relationship would ended up being a complete disaster. We were just not meant for each other, and I think that was clear from the very start. However, I was holding on for no reason. And I feel like staying was actually the worst thing I could have done. I don't know why I stayed. I feel like oftentimes giving up on a relationship is seen as a failure. Also, there's this bias that a lot of people have where if they invest a lot of time or money, energy into something and they see it's not working out, they keep investing time and money and energy into it instead of just cutting their losses. In our brains, it almost feels better to keep investing so that we don't lose the entirety of it, but then we end up losing more. So yeah, leaving a relationship can feel like you've wasted your time. And let me tell you what is not the solution. The solution is not to try to be cooler and to try to be more nonchalant and to try to be different for this person or to try to act in a different way, to try to love that person more. If this person doesn't see you for who you are and doesn't appreciate you for who you are, there's no point in changing in order to try to change their mind. If people don't love you, like loving them more is not gonna fix it. The problem is that the longer you stay and the longer you try to change yourself instead of just leaving, the more you start distrusting yourself because you're just going against yourself. Basically, you're going against your morals. You stop having needs so you can just cater to the needs of a person who doesn't appreciate you for it. You might start being agreeable to the point where you don't even have your own opinions because having the same opinion as the other person seems like a solution to make that person love you or make them appreciate you more. And in the end, all that you're doing is losing yourself. In the end, the best solution is to leave because the other option is to lose yourself, and that is not an option at all. My first relationship ended really badly and at the worst time possible. But in the end, I could finally be myself again. I didn't lose anything. I don't see this as a loss. I just gained myself back. If you're in a relationship like that, the best thing you can do is to put yourself first. There is nothing to lose. Like, what are you gonna lose? A person doesn't appreciate you? The version of you that has to just be small and be agreeable in order to be able to be in a relationship with this person? That's not a loss. It's not a bad thing to lose that. In my personal opinion, friendship breakups are almost more difficult than relationship breakups. People don't take it as seriously as relationship breakups, but they are serious, let me tell you. And oftentimes your best friends are like your second family or your first family even. Losing a person that was not forced to be friends with you, who's not like part of your family, but that you found on your way and that you grew with, can be heartbreaking. Like absolutely heartbreaking. However, I want to ask you this. How many people in your life are you keeping out of pure respect for the history you have together or out of pure loyalty instead of the fact that you genuinely want to be friends with this person? Recently means like 2 years ago, had to go for a friendship breakup. We'd been friends for like 10 years, but we just weren't on the same page anymore. And I think it's fine to grow apart, to grow in different directions, as long as you can respect each other's growth, which was not the case. And after thinking that, it's fine to maybe just keep more distant friends. Like we've grown apart, we can just maybe keep up every now and then. Something happened and made me realize, like, no, this is not for me. I'm not in this in order to be basically accused of a bunch of things that I didn't do and just judged. I did not expect to lose that friendship. I did not expect to lose it in that way, and it did felt like a loss. Now looking back, I had to lose that friendship. Like while I was friends with her, I started running, and I always remember thinking like I wish I had like run buddies or someone to run with. Funny enough, right after that friendship ended, I found run buddies. So many new people came into my life, and they're all so amazing, and I'm so grateful for them. They're so supportive. They're so sweet. They're so like down to do stuff, and they're not judgmental. Really truly believe that burning that bridge with, yeah, my best friend, my then best friend, was the thing standing in my way. While friendship breakups suck, they really suck. And I feel like no one talks about how annoying and how sad they are. And the fact that you sometimes lose your best friend of like 15 years that you've known since you were babies. This is the person you've told all of your secrets to and who knows everything about your life, and then they're just gone. You know what sucks more? Being in a friendship where you cannot be yourself, where the other person is jealous of you, where the other person judges you, where the other person would like to be you. You need to make space in your life. Sometimes, in order to get something better, you need to make space. And the way that you make space is to burn a bridge. Unpopular opinion, but you need to move out of your hometown. I feel like whenever I say this, people have very mixed opinions, and that is totally fine. But let me tell you, moving out of my hometown was the hardest and also the best thing I've ever done. Moving teaches you a lot. You learn how to be self sufficient and do like taxes and laundry and stuff like that. And I feel like that experience is invaluable. You also learn how to find new friends, how to start from scratch. And through that whole experience, you just show yourself that you're capable of so much. I just think that every young person should at least move away for like a couple months or like a year to do some sort of like studying or studying abroad or some sort of program or just work somewhere else, just to see that it is possible and it can be really fun. But everyone who has ever moved countries or cities knows how lonely it can be. There's a specific, like, very weird type of loneliness because you basically leave everything behind and you don't know if you're actually gonna get something better or if you're actually gonna get anything at all. I was 18 when I moved away, and it was like right after high school. And I lost most of my friends just to the fact that we weren't communicating anymore. We weren't seeing each other every single day anymore. They also moved to different places, and it was just so hard to keep up. I also moved during COVID, so it was really hard to find new people at university because obviously everything was online. It wasn't a fun time. Like, honestly, I cannot say that my first 1-2 years of university were great, but in the big picture, I had to move and I had to go through this whole chapter of my life that I'm still actually in. I feel like being lonely for a little bit and, not being in that high school bubble anymore forced me to actually just confront who I really am, to ask myself who I am without other people kind of guiding my opinions and without having to follow or feeling the need to follow these trends that other people were setting. Just being out of that bubble where everyone is fighting for popularity and everyone already has an opinion about everyone and you feel like you have to be what other people are telling you to be was so freeing. Moving gives you the opportunity to basically just build yourself from scratch. And it also kind of forces you to do it. That's the downside. But it also just shows you that losses are never just losses. Like, yeah, you lose something. You lose the familiarity of your hometown. You lose the people you knew there. You lose the opportunity to just go out with them again. But there's so much more. Like, now you're in a new place where you have the opportunity to find new friends, to build new routines, to find yourself again. It also kind of just forces you to choose. You cannot have it all. Like, you can either live in your hometown or you don't live in your hometown anymore. It's not that one is better than the other. It's a choice, and you get to make that choice. So if you're debating moving out of your hometown or not, I would say do it. Do it. You can always come back. But I feel like this could be literally the best chapter of your life. Let me open the door because it gets so warm in the car. I feel like I'm in a microwave. Maybe you've made a decision that really just made sense on paper, and then you tried it and realized it is not yours. And now you're wondering whether you should be walking away from it or not, or you already have decided it. Walking away from something that's not meant for you is not a loss. It doesn't make you a loser. It doesn't make you a failure. And it also doesn't necessarily mean that you give up. A lot of people have this idea that by quitting something, it is you giving up. It is a bad thing. But what if something is just not meant for you? What if you just don't like something? I would rather spend like 5 years doing something than realize that I do not like it and then walk away from it and start a whole new degree, new career path, then spend 40 years of my life working in an area that I don't like and that I've known for the past 35 years that I don't like it. That is the real tragedy. It's not being a quitter or like being a failure for a moment just because you decided to find something else to do. The real tragedy is never having the courage to do so. I spent 3 years studying nutritional science because I liked it. I found it very interesting. It made sense. People always said like, yeah, the career opportunities are amazing. The degree is amazing. It's really interesting, which yeah, I agree with, but it just wasn't for me. So I decided to switch to economics and I started doing economics courses so I can actually register for a master's degree in economics, and that worked out, thankfully. The funny thing is I actually genuinely loved economics. I had never done it before. Like I didn't have economics in my bachelor's. I didn't know if I would like it. It's very math heavy. I hated math all of my life, but honestly, I'm so much happier with economics than I was with nutrition. And I also found so many friends through university and I like the day-to-day of it way more. This chapter of my life is also closing, but I feel like leaving nutrition was really necessary. Taking the wrong path is not wasting time. I feel like it's just collecting data. I like to see it as collecting data. You tried something, it didn't work out. Okay, then you try something else. If that doesn't work out, you can still try something else. This is your life. You're supposed to do whatever you like to do, and spending time doing something just because you already invested so much time into it is not an option. Let people tell you that you are a failure. Let people judge you for quitting something the same way they did to me. Let them. They don't have to understand it. They don't have to understand your choice. You are the one who needs to be convinced that this is a good thing. And in the end, you bear the consequences of this choice, whether they're good or not. If you quit something you thought you wanted, but you don't want anymore, in order to do something that genuinely is a passion of yours, that is a win. There are people quitting 6-figure banking jobs in order to become farmers. And every single interview I've seen with one of them, they're so happy. They're glowing. A wrong path sometimes just leads you, maybe for a detour, to the right path. And that is a win. Fun fact, before I became whatever I am now, self-development YouTuber, professional yapper, I had a studygram, which is a studying Instagram. I had a fashion Instagram. I had a fitness Instagram. I mean, my Instagram page is still called Fit with Maria. Please follow me. But yeah, it started as a fitness page. What I'm trying to show with that is sometimes you have to do a bunch of different things, and sometimes you have to do them in public and fail in public before you find your right calling. This is a trial and error method, and while this method will for sure lead you to a bunch of losses that again are not really losses in the end, it also leads you to what is truly meant for you. Sometimes in life, you have these situations where you know you want to do something, but you don't know exactly how you're going to do it. And instead of sitting there thinking about what you can do in order to ensure that your first try is a success, I would say just go for it. Just go for the first idea that comes to mind. Try it. Don't try to make it perfect. Don't try to make it the absolute best work you've ever done. Just give it a good shot, like a decent shot. I feel like oftentimes you can only find your right thing, like the right niche by exhausting other opportunities. Like for instance, if you want to make content, try everything. Try beauty videos, try advice videos. I mean, I wouldn't say try advice videos without actually having something to give advice on. I am personally allergic to that. Try commentary, try, I don't know, gaming, whatever there is, fashion. And if you're currently building something that's not working, think about it this way. It's not working yet. It's gonna work. Just have some patience and keep trying. Let plans fall apart. I think everyone is guilty of this. And I say guilty because I'm not sure that this is the best. Oh, I thought I had an insect. It's just my hair. I'm not sure that this is the best way to approach life, but a lot of people have these 5-year plans. I think plans are different from goals. Like, goals is I want to achieve this and that, but I don't know how yet, and I don't know in which way. But plans are very, very specific. I think it's good to have a very clear idea of what you want to do and where you want to go to. But by planning, you oftentimes also expect people to behave in a certain way. People say, like, I want to be married in 5 years. Okay, but what if you don't find like your person in 5 years? What if your person comes along in 6? Are you gonna marry someone that you don't actually want to be married to just because that's the plan? I'm not sure that's a great idea, but everyone should do what they want at the end of the day. Maybe you've been counting on a promotion or on hitting a subscriber goal. And maybe this thing didn't happen, like you planned on it. But for some reason that you probably had nothing to do with, it just didn't happen. That can feel like a failure. But would it really be that bad if your plan didn't work out fully? Like, what if there are other things that you get to experience because this one thing that you really desperately wanted didn't work out? What feels like a failure is just a redirection. There are better things waiting for you somewhere else. I try not to make very clear plans because life is always so unexpected, but what I know is that whenever something just doesn't happen, something you desperately wanted doesn't happen, it's most likely because something way, way better is waiting for you. Maybe you don't see it yet. Maybe you doubt that that is even the case, but it's gonna happen. In a couple years, you're gonna be able to look back and see like, oh, I had to not get that job because it led me to something way better. The pattern here is that every single loss, whether it's a relationship, a friendship, a degree, a career, or even just like failing in public, makes room and leads you to better opportunities. It's not a loss. Every single time something exits your life, like a friend, a partner, yes, that might come with grief and it might come with sadness, but it makes space for something better. Always. The lesson is this: it is not rejection, it is not failure, it's redirection. You don't have to immediately feel okay about it. You might be just like going through it, and I know when you're in the middle of it, it's like you're in the trenches, like you don't feel great about it. It feels sad, it's a loss, obviously, but it always ends up being better. This video was recommended to you for a reason, and I feel like the thing you need to hear most is that it is all working out. Maybe not how you planned, maybe not in an expected way, but it is all working out. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye bye.